Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Michael here at Game Changerz, and this is Retro Game Scene. It's our cool show we're doing where we're chatting with all sorts of fun and interesting people in the retro gaming community. And then for the second half, we make them play a video game. Today's guest is Quintin. How's it going, Quintin?
Not too bad. It's early morning, but hey, that's what I chose.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So Quintin is a avid collector, a huge Zelda fan, and he's been a regular at our store for a very long time. So, I mean, longer than I've owned it, I think.
I was going when you guys were still playing trade.
Okay, longer than we've been Game Changerz. So it's been a hot minute. And if I remember correctly, I think at one point, didn't you apply for a job there when you were really young?
Oh, not really young.
Yeah, I mean, just barely old enough to apply for a job.
No, I think it was in between going from one job to another.
Was it? How old do you think you were?
19, 20.
Very young.
I'm only 24.
Fair enough, my dude. Fair enough. So as a only 24-year-old, I feel like your experience collecting video games is probably very different than like people my age who kind of were able to take advantage of all the yard sale finds before things got really like popular. Now everybody and their mom knows that games are worth money, it seems.
No, so when I first was starting with collecting, I was kind of in that tail end where you could still find things at yard sales and certain consoles weren't, astronomically high.
So you didn't exactly miss the boat. It just kind of...
I was on the tail end, like where you could occasionally find deals, but you weren't finding whole Super Nintendo lots for like $50. It was more like whole Super Nintendo lots for like $100. And there was, 3 or 4 like really good games in there, but no one knew what they had.
Yeah, I remember there have been a few times where I got lucky on like KSL or what's the other? It's not Facebook Marketplace because that's more recent.
As I'd say, I only used KSL. That's where my start was with KSL.
For people who aren't in the local area, KSL is similar to Craigslist. That's the one I was thinking of. KSL and Craigslist, I used to have some pretty good luck. I spent a lot of time doing yard sailing where I just like drive around on Saturday and Sunday morning looking for anybody, like, they put the signs up on the...
Or if you were driving past, you saw that they were setting up a table and you immediately were like, hold up, I know you're not ready yet, but...
I've never had any luck yard sailing, though. Never in my life. I think the closest I came to getting a deal is I saw these guys had a red, like, Wii Mini, like the little one with the flip top, right? And a copy of Mario Kart, right? And so I parked, I get out of my car, I'm walking up to there, and some other dude, as I'm walking, like screeches in, parks, runs past me. How much for Mario? And they're like, I don't know, $5, right? For Mario Kart. And I'm like, oh, dang, he got that. I'm going to get the Wii, though. They're doing deals, so it's going to be good. So he leaves, right? And I'm like, how much for the Wii? They're like, $100. Oh, okay. They're like, yeah, we paid $60 for it when it was new. I'm like, I sell them for $50 at my store. It's the one that doesn't do the internet. It doesn't do the GameCube.
It doesn't have internal storage.
It doesn't really? You have to use an SD card? Oh.
If my memory serves me right.
Oh, so anyway, that's the closest I ever came to making a good deal at a yard sale. I did have, at one point, somebody reach out to me and say, hey, this guy was going to sell this stuff at a yard sale, but I told him to go to you instead. And so, like having a store makes it a little easier for like stuff to walk in. I don't have to go out and look for it as much. But yeah, going out on foot with yard sailing, I see people do these like amazing big lots and they post them on Facebook. Like, look at what I got for $5. And it's like three little Samsons.
The whole entire like Super Nintendo collection.
Yeah, it's like bins and bins of stuff. And I'm just like, when do I find that? Where do I find that? How do you do this? But I think those people are probably putting a lot more time and effort into it than they're showing. You know what I mean? They show off when they get a good lot, but they don't show the 47 yard sales they hit on the way there that didn't give them anything.
Yep.
So, have you had any luck with yard selling yourself? I mean, what's your go-to way of finding stuff?
Mostly it's going just to your store or I kind of stopped scouting KSL and Marketplace.
Well, they got kind of overrun, right?
Well, I collected enough where I was happy and content, and most of the things that I'm looking for are going to be the things that are really like harder to find
super rare,
or cost a
expensive.
pretty penny. Yeah.
The stuff that you're not going to find a good deal on because everybody who has it knows what they have.
Exactly what they have. Yeah. And that's when I just wait for people in the community, or if it just walks into your store. Like,
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Well, that's why we got you on speed dial, because we always know you're.
well,
you're
that's
there
why
I
I also immediately was like, oh, look, I got a notification. Oh, look, Game Changers posted on their Facebook or on their Twitter.
gotta follow the socials.
Oh, yep. I see what I want. Immediately calling.
Yep. I love that about you, man. So actually, when it comes to your collection, you sent in a couple of photos and videos and stuff, and I would love to take a look at those and see what kind of stuff you're most proud of in your collection. So we've got a couple of Hatsune Miku Project Diva controllers, right? What's the difference between those two?
So the smaller of the two is actually for Project Diva F.
Okay.
Or F or F second, the one on the PlayStation 3.
Okay.
So that's a PS3 controller.
The one that's just the one-player one?
Well, both of them are just one-player controllers.
Really? The other one has like two sets of buttons.
The one that has two sets of buttons, that's the one for Project Diva F and F second on the PS3.
Okay, what's the one that has
the one that's
set?
just the 4 buttons and the slider is the Hori Megamix 39 controller that they only had in Japan.
Which Diva game is that for?
So it's for Project Diva Future Tone and Megamix 39, because it's the same thing. Megamix 39 was the one that they brought to the Switch.
Oh, okay. So can you use that on a Switch?
If you have an adapter.
What kind of, like, does it have a USB on the end?
Yeah. It's just a USB. Well, actually, that one is a Switch controller. You can use it on PlayStation if you have an adapter.
Gotcha. That's awesome, dude. And then we've got like a whole Miku collection, it looks like.
So that's... that is every Project Diva game physically.
Every single one of them?
Yep. So I've got in the middle, I've got the first one, the extended and second, all on the PSP.
Nice. And then you got that special Miku PSP. Didn't you get that from us?
I got that exactly from you.
That's what I thought. I picked that up when I did the Japan stream. I remember that. I got that at Trader in Akiba. And then what's that one on the top right? That doesn't look like Miku.
I kind of combined. So this is all just the Vocaloid rhythm games.
Okay. Is that a different Vocaloid character?
Yeah, IAVT. It's instead of like Project Diva, you're familiar with how the notes are flying from all over the screen. This one's kind of more linear. Like you'll see the track is kind of running around and you can still see the notes. Also similar to the one in the middle, top middle there, Megpoid the Music with Gumi.
Oh, yeah.
It's something similar to that, but that's also on the PSP.
Nice.
And that one with the big box, it actually has 2 little figures in it.
Does it really?
Yeah.
That's way cool, man.
Just like, if I'm remembering correctly, the 2 Project Mirais on the 3DS, I think one of the 2 of them has, a little figure or just a lot more than what we got with the American version.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. And we've got all sorts of other stuff in your collection as well, though. We've got that Space Channel 5 Part 2. I didn't realize they made a Part 2.
That's a Japanese big box special edition.
Did that get an American release?
It got an American release on the PS2, and it was a Space Channel 5 collection. It had both Part 1 and Part 2, and I'm pretty sure that's the only way besides the PC port.
Okay, but Part 2 by itself never really came over. It's just in the collection.
It was just in the collection.
What all's in the box?
It's been a while since I've looked at it, but I think it has the game, and I think just some little trinkets and like kind of memorabilia for the game.
Doesn't have like a special controller or anything.
No,
it's just a little care package, basically. And then I noticed you got Sonic N on the Nokia Choco Taco. Why they engaged?
It walked into your store complete in box, and I went, "What the is this?" Shit! It's got Sonic. Sure.
Just had to experience that. Have you actually played on it at all?
It's so bad. It's just Sonic Advance.
I hear it's got like Mega Slowdown.
It's been so long since I've looked at it, and I didn't play for so long because the controls and everything was like, what?
That's fair.
No,
that's fair. I do feel like collecting video games and playing video games are 2 separate hobbies entirely.
Yeah, it's one that like you kind of get one or the other, or you don't go super deep into one or super deep into another.
Well, there's only so much time in a day, right? So
yeah,
it's good to play them though when you can. Like that's why we do the whole second half of the show and make you play something.
For me, every other Sunday, I've been getting together the same 2 or 3 people, and we've just been running through random things in my collection.
Heck yeah, dude!
Like
that's the way.
Just recently, we finished Gregory Horror Show on the PS2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
dude.
we fully went through the whole thing, and it took us like two Sundays just to sit down and play through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. It's good to be able to make time to play games because, a lot of collectors fall into this trap where they just, they collect and then collect and then collect and then they don't play anything. And then they don't get the same level of enjoyment out of it that they would if they were maintaining
Like just
a balance.
slowly collecting and then playing through it, or at least starting the game
Dude,
instead of...
I see it all the time. All the time. People, they collect. If somebody's collecting like crazy, if they're at my store every day, like, ooh, this
$100 tickets every single
they burn
time.
out. They burn out, and they are usually at my store again to sell it all off and swear off video games by the end of like a year tops. You got to have pacing. If you overdo it, if you're like, I got my tax return, let's just collect everything. I feel like you don't really get the joy of the hunt if you do it all too fast or all at once, and you definitely don't get the time to play all of them.
Oh, and keeping to a list.
Yes.
That's the real one. If you just go into the stores or go out in the wild not knowing what you're wanting, you'll just keep collecting garbage and rare treasures, yes, but nothing that really
like a complete in-box N-Gage.
I collect the weird things.
That's fair.
You've seen the random things that you're like, I don't know who the hell to sell this to.
Speaking of weird things, Quintin, you sent me a video here. Let's pull this up. What do we got here? Let's see. We've got Sonic and Knuckles and Knuckles and Knuckles and... How many Knuckles do you have on there, my dude? Oh, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. My bad. That's a lot of Knuckles.
Let's see, I wrote it down because that's the only way that you can actually keep track of most of the things. That is 17 copies.
Now all you need is a game genie at the bottom of it.
I have 7 of those.
Yeah, okay, 7 game genies and the Knuckles.
Yeah, that stack becomes as tall as me or a little bit taller.
Do you think? Have you tried to see if it hits a point where it like doesn't have enough power?
So that stack, that little video, I tried plugging it into the Nomad that I have.
Okay, yeah, the Nomad can handle that, no problem.
It wasn't powering on. It would only get up to, I think, 7 or 8 of them, and then be like, yeah, nope, I'm done. I don't want to power up to the Sonic 3.
I'd be curious to see how many an actual like Genesis 1.
I have a sacrificial Genesis 2 that a friend just gave to me that's in horrible condition.
Okay.
And one of the times when I can figure out how to properly rig it to where I can have them standing upright or just tip it on its side. So
or just have a friend come hold it. I'll come hold it.
I don't think you want to hold that many and Knuckles because the way that you stack, they go further and further forward.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually the stack is trying to tip over.
I can handle it for science. For science, my dude. I need to know how many it can take. All right. And you also sent me some like multiple photos of your Zelda stuff.
So
that is a lot of Zelda.
I tried to put it all into one photo and looked at it, took a picture, and then went, oh crap, I forgot this. Oh, I forgot that. Oh yeah, that's hiding over there. And as I pulled everything out, I went, oh.
You need to get yourself like a glass display case, my dude.
I have a 9x9 shelf that I display as much as I can.
That's a hard part, man. The more you collect, the more space you need for collecting.
Well, the hard part too is when you're collecting specific really cool things, how do you display all of it?
Right, because you want each and every one to be visible. You don't want it to be like a stack of 64.
Like, oh, here's all of the boxed games just tilted sideways, so all you can see is the spine.
Yeah, and I've done like custom 3D printing work for people sometimes to help them display their stuff. But you still, even with a 3D printed stand, you need the space to put it.
Part of the issue is the rooms that I live in. It was converted from an attic, so I have vaulted ceilings. So I maybe have like 3 or 4 feet of vertical.
You got almost no wall space.
Angled.
Oh, yeah, that's tough because you can't really do like a bookshelf without having a big gap behind it.
Or or what I currently have are like little wire racks that are just like 3 or 4 feet. They barely reach the top where the vault actually starts.
Okay. I love vaulted ceilings, but yeah, I can see that being a huge problem when you're trying to like find space.
I can't even put some of the posters that I have around the room. Like I've got bought them off of Brian Craig, and he's actually where I got most of my
for
Zelda
like Zelda
collect-
posters.
He got most. That's where I got most, if not all, of my Zelda stuff from.
Yeah, and for people out there who don't know that name, he is a local Zelda fanatic. He has a whole Zelda room in his basement, and we will be having him on the show. So just
He's
sit
such
tight
a
on
great
that.
person too.
Yeah, he's a delight to work with. He's really fun to hang out with too, and he's an absolute shark at poker. Don't play poker with him unless you're ready to lose some money. But I did wonder though, because this is a lot of Zelda stuff. Is it a full set?
No.
What are we missing?
To my knowledge, I'm missing the CDI games.
Oh yeah,
and I think one of the Tingle DS games.
you got 2 of them. How many are there?
It's the Balloon Trip is the one that I'm missing.
Oh,
I had to separate all the photos into 3 things.
those are Japan and Europe only.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I had to split my photos up into 3 things because there was so much. So I sent you like the hardware and like the big special editions.
Yeah. You've got. Well, let's see here. This photo is your Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. You got the OLED Switch.
Yep. So those are like the special edition consoles and like just random hardware, or
You
just
get the Majora 3D Skull Kit. Oh, dude, that Hylian Shield 2DS XL is a spicy meatball.
You know, funny enough, that's the one that you guys weren't able to sell for so long, so you had to mark it down significantly.
You got that from us.
And then the
didn't you?
moment I bought it, you had like 5 or 6 people going, "Hey, do you still have this? Do you still have that?"
Isn't that just the way it goes?
It was sitting there for so long, though. That's
Well-
what surprised me is I think you had to mark it
and
down.
I had it at a reasonable price. I
and then
mean,
you had to bring it lower than your price point, too.
yeah, lower than eBay, that's for sure. Which you wouldn't expect because Zelda fans are like rabid animals.
Not as bad as Pokemon, but
Don't even get me started on Pokemon. Okay, you ready for this? I had a Pokemon Pearl come in yesterday, right? And we had a little bit of a line at the register. And the guy who traded it in, the guy behind him in line is like, "Hey, is that a Pokemon Pearl?" And it lasted like 5 seconds. It was just in, out, just like that. We didn't even get a photo.
that reminds me of when I picked up the Sega Pico that you guys had.
Oh, yeah.
It pulled into the store. Sam was a little bit busy towards the tail end of the night. And then I looked at it, I went, "Is that a Pico?" And he went, "Yeah, I mean, that's mine now." You didn't even have a chance to take a picture, put it in the system or anything. It just went in and out.
Dude,
just like that.
I think our speed record for something coming in and going out, I think, is actually in the negatives. Because at one point I had somebody say, "Hey, I have a Castlevania Symphony of the Night at home. Would you guys buy that?" And I was like, "Yeah, if it's in good condition, I can give you around this much, but I have to look at it first, right?" And he's like, "Well, I'll go get it. I'll go pick it up and we'll work it out. I'll be back in like 10, 15 minutes." I'm like, "Sweet, sounds good, right?" And then somebody overheard that and they're like, "Did he say Symphony of the Night?" And so he waited 15 minutes for this to come in. So I think our speed record is negative 15 minutes.
Because it showed up and then
It was
he
just
immediately went,
in,
"Nope,
out.
I
Just
want it."
Yep. And luckily he didn't try to scalp it in the parking lot. I've had people try to like steal our deals in the store in front of me. And I'm just like,
Just
what
like,
are
"Really,
you doing,
guys,
man?" Like
I'm right here.
it costs a lot of money to run a store. And the whole point of running a store like that is that it's a central place that people know they can come and bring stuff, right?
They can have trusted sources, know that they're not
Right.
getting gypped like one of the other stores in the area.
Well, I don't want to call out the other stores. I'm trying to be friendly. But I will say that, when you want to sell something or buy something on a KSL, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace,
Oh,
right?
you're always skeptical. So having
Well-
a dedicated place where you know what you're getting.
That's true. That's true. But also the amount of effort, right? There's a lot of effort involved in like talking with 15 different people, 14 of which are trying to lowball you, and the 15th one ghosts you. And then you have to pick a place to meet up and pick a time. And then there's like the back and forth. And then I don't know what the deal is, but specifically with like buying and selling stuff, people communicate like garbage. Nobody's like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm interested in this." They're like, "How much?" Just straight out the door. How much,
Straight,
right?
"I want it. How much?"
Mhm.
Nope, out of my price range. And they just disappear without saying thanks or, "Oh, I can't do that." And you're
Well, it's just the communication skills are garbage. There's no effort, right? And so when you have to sell something or buy something there, you have to put in like personal effort to, make it happen, right? And so when I pay thousands of dollars a month in rent and then some for utilities
And
and
employees
oh my
and-
God, the expenses are 98% of the revenue. But anyway, when I do all of that, right? Um, it's not fair for somebody to kind of bypass all of the effort of buying something online and then come take advantage of all of the money I'm spending on this place to be like, oh, hey, somebody brought something. I'm going to snipe this deal. You know what I mean? They just skip all the effort of finding it online and fighting with other people and instead just show up in my store.
Waiting for the right moment to
Yeah.
just be a vulture and yoink get away from you.
Well, and I don't think a lot of people really like plan on that. They don't
No.
show up and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to wait for something good to
No,
come
it's just
in."
one of those spur of the moment and you don't think about it.
Right. And so I try to give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, "Well, maybe it was just they didn't think it through."
They got excited and because they heard a game they've probably been
Exactly.
looking for a couple of years.
But it's not an auction house. I'm not trying to bid against my customers. And I've never had to like get angry and kick somebody out, but I've given somebody the stink eye before, for sure. And luckily our customers generally are cool enough that when somebody tries to snipe something out from under them, they're like, "Hold on, let the store get it and then you can buy it from the store." Like the people selling us stuff are actually all really chill. So, I haven't had that problem. Now, I have had people from like the online marketplaces use our parking lot as a meetup spot to buy and sell stuff, and I'm all for that. I think that's great because it's not only it's a safe place, right? But then like while they're in the area and they're in the mood for video games, they can look in and see, hey, game store.
One time I actually have done that. I've met up at the store, out in the lot, and then brought the thing in. It's like, hey, can you guys double check that this is legit or not? It seemed too good of a deal to be the correct thing, but it happened to be the right, authenticated, perfectly fine.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm all for helping other people work out their deals as long as it's not a deal that I paid to have walk in my door. That's what gets me. That's what gets my
Where
goat.
you're like, could have bought that. I could have had I know like 3 or 4 people that have been looking for this thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, my goal is to be understanding and not get like jealous, right? When I see people scoring awesome finds on Facebook Marketplace or at yard sales, right? There is that part of me that's like, why not me? But you got to be an adult about it and like, oh, well, I didn't put in the effort that they put in.
No, you probably didn't have the time to also just go roundabout on your Sunday or Saturday because you've got the store and then other things that you got to work on.
Retro game scene and, just always doing something or another. But, we get enough stuff walking in the front door that it works out.
So many great things walk through the store. Like
I am so grateful for the awesome customer base that we have, man. Because seriously, every day it's like I post a photo and then something comes in. I'm like, well, now I got to post another photo or do a video. Like it's just so much good stuff coming in. We get a lot of bulk too.
That's the nice part too, is bulk, because then you got hidden things that you're like, well, I'm going to just slap that in, and those that are really looking at the videos or the photos will immediately know.
Dude, I don't do that on purpose. It just happens. Somebody will bring me like 15 Maddens, and in theirs there's like an Eternal Poison, the Atlas PS2 game, just like sitting in the Maddens. I'm just like, oh crap, didn't know that was there.
Now, like most of my collection, it's either from you guys or it's through some of the more higher profile people in the community.
Yeah, there's a lot of resellers that have built a name for themselves. I know I've got 2 of them actually scheduled for filming, so that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to chatting with them. One of them was doing storage units, and the other one mostly was just doing like, what's the word I'm looking for? Multiple avenues of acquisition, but like selling at conventions. You know what I mean? There's a third one who I haven't got on the schedule but I don't have as good of a relationship with. I'd like to fix that though. I would like to,
get that building block going.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we don't like dislike each other. Like we smile and say hi, right?
We just don't know each other very well.
We just don't interact as often. Yeah, as the other 2. He doesn't come into my store like at all ever. Maybe once or twice. Whereas like, one of them is like he comes to my house every now and then to play poker, you know what I mean? Or we have the other one. I'm trying to get him and his wife to, they came over for New Year's Eve. So,
oh, okay.
I try to get people in the community to come, socialize outside of
show that you're
business.
not just the businessman. You're actually a fun person to hang around with.
Well, I don't know about fun, but I am a person to hang out with.
Come on. It's always a fun time hanging out with you.
I try to make it fun. I appreciate that, my dude. I try to keep, how do I put this? I'm not good at separating business and pleasure. You know what I mean? Like, it. I've never hired somebody and then not felt an urge to be their friend. You know what I mean? And that's bit me in the butt a few times. But whenever I have a regular customer that comes into my store all the time, my first reaction is, well, first off, we're kindred spirits because you're coming into the video game store and this is what I love the most. And secondly, like, I don't know. That's where all of my friends come from. Really. I mean, most of them. It's either my store or from like other people that I met through the store, and then they had the shared friend group, or the Utah Retro Gamers Facebook group is where a lot of my friends came from. So, um, I'm not good at separating the two. It's
Well,
just
no, when you've knit such a good community together just within your own personal space that just happens to bleed into the retro game community, it's kind of hard to separate. Well, now I need to sell you things. I also want to get you a really good friend deal.
no, it's okay. I can balance that. I make it work. It's good, man. I know what I'm paying for stuff and how much wiggle room I have. So, people get the homeboy hookup all the time. And it doesn't hurt that, like, sure, I'm like helping like build a community, my own little group of people, right? But there's already a huge group of retro collectors in Utah. And, there's a lot of people that actually, I think, maybe don't socialize as much, but are still like hardcore into it. And my hope, right, is that everybody kind of realizes how big the community is, and we can kind of like
Just gush about video games and
Yeah.
old stuff like that all the time without
I don't think
worrying.
I don't think we need to grow the community as much as we need to like connect it together more, because there's so many.
Get rid of the fog of, oh, it's just me and my little circle, and you realize, no, it's
Oh, there's
damn near
so
the
many.
whole state.
Yeah, no, exactly. Utah is like absolute like holy land for nerds,
You
geeks,
wouldn't expect
gamers.
that. Because I think, if I remember correctly, when Comic-Con first came, they didn't expect us to be that huge.
And it exploded. It absolutely exploded. And now we've got the Utah Retro Gaming Expo, which it's on what, year 4 or 5 now. It started as a little swap meet, and it got rained on, and they had tents, luckily, but it was still muddy all over the ground. And now it's in the Davis Conference Center.
I was gonna say, I went last year and I had a lot of fun. I
Mhm.
didn't have a lot of money because I went to Evo.
Oh, yeah.
'cause
That was like right after Evo, wasn't it?
'cause outside of retro games, I help. Recently, I've been part of the production team for Get Good FGC, so I help run the fighting game tournaments that we have. So like Street
Oh, nice.
Fighter, Tekken, Guilty Gear.
Way cool, man. Yeah, I know you mentioned you went to Evo. Tell me about that. Like, was it awesome?
So that's something that I've been wanting to go to since like junior high, high school, back when Melee was actually at Evo.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't interested in fighting games. It was just Melee. And I was like, oh, this will be fun. A couple years went by and that kind of faded away. Once I came back into like the fighting game scene, I went, oh, I want to go. I have money now. I can actually coordinate the time frame. I just happened to have the dates early enough where I was able to request it off work, managed to get out there, and it was a blast.
That's awesome, dude. So you competed, right?
I competed in Tekken 8 and Guilty Gear Strive, as well
nice.
as refereeing. So I was able to help run, I think I ran 3 brackets. So 3 little pools, just recording scores, yelling matches, just having a good time.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Are you planning on going back?
Yeah, I've already got my registration. I've already got the tickets. I've got hotels already booked, and I'm coordinating with a couple other people, seeing if they want to also join me, because otherwise it's just me and my mother that'll go out again.
Right on, man. How well did you do in the tournament? If you had to, I mean, you don't have to.
I did a
say.
lot better in Guilty Gear than I expected.
Mm-hmm. Is it a pretty niche community, Guilty Gear Strive? I mean,
It's for the fighting games, there's like the big 3. So there's
the Tekken, Street Fighter.
Tekken, Street Fighter, and Guilty Gear.
Oh, Guilty Gear is one of the 3.
Of the 3, Guilty Gear is more the smaller of the 3 because it's just an anime fighter. And of course, Tekken's been such a long namestay. Street Fighter. And then Guilty Gear is kind of more the niche, but it's becoming more mainstream as it goes on.
Gotcha. Yeah. I know, like, obviously, like Tekken and Street Fighter, they instantly come to mind because they've been around
Since like the 90s.
Yeah, like on arcade before they hit the Super Nintendo. You know what I mean? And Well, I mean,
Super
Street Fighter.
Nintendo and PlayStation 1, yeah.
PS1 for Tekken, yeah. So I guess that Tekken is a little bit later to the scene, but it blew up. I mean, everybody loved it. So, and the story in Tekken is just absolutely bananas.
Insane.
I just all of the crazy twists and turns. The kangaroo who ends up like stepping out
Yep.
on his family or whatever. Like, what is going on? They are doing some sort of the good.
They're
drugs
having
over
fun.
there. Yeah, for sure, my dude, for sure. Oh man, yeah. So Evo was awesome. Going back again.
If my schedule lines up well enough, I'll be going to Evo, and then that following weekend, if I can get the time off, I'm going to be going to the retro gaming convention again.
The Utah one?
Yeah. That was
You
fun.
gotta do it. You gotta do it.
I'll have more money this time, so I can actually buy things instead of buying 5 copies of And Knuckles.
I swear to God, man, I can't get a Sonic and Knuckles in without you banging down my door to be the first one to grab it. That is just.
You'll see it and you'll go,
At this
I'm going to
point,
get a call in 2 minutes, aren't I?
it's an art project at this point. I feel like.
Oh, it's fully gotten to a point where, oh, this will be funny. Oh, it's no longer funny. It's now a challenge.
When does a meme go too far? That's the question.
And you have 6 copies of Mary Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 License to Drive for
You
the
need- you
GameCube,
need
and I have
16
2
copies.
I've got 2 for the PlayStation 2. I didn't even know that it was on the PS2. I only knew the GameCube version.
Yeah, okay. Now we know. License to drive. Have you ever actually fired it up and played it?
So bad.
How bad is it?
It's a really, really bad Mario Party ripoff.
Oh, no.
And it's not a good one. It's not good.
It doesn't focus on driving?
Oh, it does, but it like driving questions, like, oh, what's the
Oh.
following? Just like,
It's like a quiz game.
kinda.
Oh.
I would not recommend trying it out actively. Like, oh, this will be a fun. No, you
Yeah,
try it just to make fun of it.
Sounds like the definition of a bad time. Unless
Unless you're really into really bad games,
I
then
was
you're gonna
gonna
have fun.
I was gonna say really drunk, but yeah, okay.
You can make it into a drinking game, but oh boy, that's a scary one.
Yeah, fair. No, you wouldn't. I don't know what the deal is, but I feel like every time I see somebody like post, here's the rules for this drinking game, it's always like way too much. Like you will get alcohol poisoning and die if you do this.
5 minutes in, you should stop.
Yeah, no. I'll stick to just drunk driving Mario Kart. That's the best way because you can't drink while your cart is moving. You have to stop. So you either pound it at the beginning and get going, you get the rubber band effect because it's a rubber band racer, or you go all the way to the end and chug it, or every time you fall off the course, you take a moment. Oh man, yep, that's the way to go. So let's get you on the game for the day. Do you want to show off what you brought to play today?
So what I brought is actually something that Ryan he managed to acquire, and then I was the first person that he thought of, and we kind of worked out a deal to acquire. I don't know if you want to get that
let's hold
closer
it up
to
to the
one of your
camera.
cameras there.
Ooh,
but,
what is that? What is that? It looks like a gray Majora's Mask. Why is Majora's Mask gray? What's the story there, guys? Does it say something else on the front there? What's that say?
Oh, just not for resale.
Not for resale. Gray cart Majora's Mask. What's the story on that bad boy?
To my understanding,
Mhm.
is it was to promote Majora's Mask like before the game came out, so it's got a good chunk of the game still in it.
It's like a kiosk demo. Do you think?
I don't think it was a kiosk demo. I think it was like at like an equivalent of like E3 back in the day.
Oh, so
where
it was a
you-
very
where
limited
you-
demo.
and most of them were destroyed. I think when I last was talking with Brian about it, I think there was only 10 that we know of.
So somebody stole it.
Well, Nintendo
Probably.
employees probably went, "Oh no, it got destroyed."
Like at this point, it's old enough. It's not. I don't think it qualifies. But Nintendo, if you're watching, we don't actually have this. This isn't real. So let's go ahead and fire that bad boy up and see what's on there. Turn on the sound too, so we can hear it. Ooh, so spoopy.
Funny enough, it requires the expansion pack still,
Yes.
as you discovered today.
No, dude, yeah, because you were like, I got this 64 thing we can play. I'm like, sweet, sounds awesome. I got a 64 ready. Didn't realize the Majora demo also requires the expansion, so we had to scramble, but we got it. Got regular old intro, Termina.
If I'm remembering correctly, there are some slight differences because of how early, because it's not the final product.
Right, obviously,
So
but
there's slight changes. I don't know all of them off the top of my head.
it's not just the normal game, right? Like there's like little snippets that you pick from, right? I don't know. I've never actually played it myself. I have seen it in person once before, but at the time I had no idea what it was or what it was going for. Quentin, do you want to tell people what it's averaging or what it's going for these days? You don't have to tell them what you paid,
No,
but
I think it's going for 9 to 10,000.
$1,000.
Yeah,
9 to
it's a
10.
very spicy meatball.
Ooh, buddy.
It's, I think, the most expensive Nintendo 64 cartridge that you could, if you manage to find, can acquire.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't include it on a full set because it's not an official release.
And there's so few of them in general.
Yeah, and if you did want to include that on a full set, then you're going to not full set the system. That's just the only way. It's like people who collect NES full sets and they're like, well, Stadium Events doesn't count. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Well, with full sets, you have to set yourself a limit. Because
Mhm.
are you going to go for all the American releases, all the European, all the Japanese? Are you going to
Right.
include demo cartridges or prototypes?
Right, because if you're including all of the not for resales, then you were nowhere near a full set on Zelda. But if you don't include those, heck, if you don't include Japanese and European games, you're already there, right? Well, almost. Because the CDI games.
Yeah.
But the Tingle doesn't count.
I mean, for me, it's there's so few that are Japanese exclusives
Mhm.
or European exclusives. It's like, may as well. If they're not, an arm and a leg to get.
I'm surprised that you have this, but you don't have Faces of Evil and Wand of Gamelon.
I stumbled upon this before I stumbled upon the other two. I
You just
have
gotta find them in the wild.
I have yet to manage to get to a point where I found them in person.
That you're not gonna probably find them in person unless you wait long enough and are lucky enough. I know my girlfriend has both of them, but they're not like, how do I put this?
It's just the game and the jewel case, no fancy boxes and
They're-
all that.
They're not the official retail release.
Mm.
I was told that they were prototypes that were used in the production, but they look like burnt CDs with fake labels on them. So they could be real, they could be fake, they could be prototypes, they could be just BS. Who knows?
The fact that they work, that's more than enough for
how do
you.
you research something like that? You know what I mean? Does the CDI play burned games? I don't think it normally does,
I have
right?
no clue.
I'll have to do some.
I haven't touched the CDI that I got since it stumbled into your store and I acquired it just like that because it had
Fair
Hotel
enough.
Mario.
We'll have to do some research on that. But it looks like we got our list of games here, our list of sections.
Well, yeah, little sections.
So which ones are the most exciting? The Goron Race and Zora Challenge, probably.
Everyone knows the Goron races, but
I've never done the Goron Race. Show me what you got.
oh god,
Can you do it?
I can try, but I struggle not very good with Zelda games.
You just got to get through it fast enough.
You just have to win the race.
Okay. Let's see what you can do then. So I know we talked about burnout earlier and people collecting too fast and
Oh yeah.
like kind of giving up selling all their stuff. How do you avoid that?
For me, false start.
Oh, false start. I distracted you. I'm going to keep talking to you the whole time, by the way. That's the whole thing.
For me, it was I collected quite early and started to acquire a lot of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh.
this is fun.
Okay, so
But once I acquired a certain point where I was starting to get like these weirder, more hard to find, like not for resales or just really big ticketed items,
Mhm.
I kind of slowed down and went, hold on, what am I actually wanting out of this collection?
you kind of like set
I set a
series of goals.
limit of, okay, well, I really enjoy this game series like Jet Set Radio,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to acquire all the Jet Set Radios.
Gotcha.
So that's what I started to do.
Do you go for like smaller full
Smaller
sets?
full sets, not the absurd, like, oh, I'm going to acquire every single... I don't blank unless it's a big series, but...
Is Zelda?
Well, that's the one that I started. That's actually what I started my collection with. Is I'm gonna acquire all the Zelda games.
You know what though? Acquiring all the Zelda games is a lot easier and a lot more fun than trying to acquire like all of the Super Nintendo games. Or all
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the NES.
I never was interested in trying to acquire a full set of a console.
And that's very common. A lot of people, especially like the 64, a lot of people try to full set the 64 because it's not a ton of games.
But
It's-
there's some of them that you
What
go.
is it like? Is it like
What?
800 or something?
I know it's more than the Wii U,
That's fair. That's fair. Wii U is also another popular one to go full set though.
but that's only because I think there's 350 on Wii or 314.
Yeah, it's not very many. There are some that are like, why is this so expensive? Like Jeopardy on the Wii. There's 2 versions of it, and one of them
Not
is
good.
well over 100.
Yeah, because one says Majestico on it, I think.
Yeah,
and
it's the company that makes it. Yeah.
And I think I have both.
Okay, fair
Both
enough.
from your store.
Oh, love to hear it. So yeah, I mean, doing like individual full sets as opposed to console
individual
full
full sets is a lot easier because if it's a specific game or a specific
Mhm.
game series, I find that a lot easier because then you can hunt specifically. It's like, oh, okay, I want just this console, just this series. I know I only need a PS3, a PS2, and an N64, and then I
Right.
can get that full set, and it's only going to cost a
Mhm.
lot less than if I went for every single weird PlayStation 2. Like if I wanted all, or NES, like, or Super Nintendo, like you were saying, if I wanted all of the mother games,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Earthbound alone, it's like, well, do I get just the cartridge, or am I going for a full?
Yeah, do you need the big box? That came with the strategy guide, so the box
And
was
the
freaking
scratch
huge.
and sniffs. And
Oh yeah. Did you? I saw a big box recently, and it still had the scratch and sniffs in it, and they still smelled. You didn't even have to scratch them. You could still smell them. I don't know how they did it.
magic back in the 90s.
It's the witchcraft for sure, man. Yeah, so you can either, kind of limit yourself to individual little sets like that, or
Am I
do you-
going the wrong way?
you fell off. Yeah, you're not in the general area. Send you all the way back.
Let's
That's
try some of the other parts of the demo, because otherwise we're gonna be stuck on this for like an hour.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, there's a lot of different sections. There's a lot more than I thought there would be on there too.
Because I'm pretty sure with the way that it's set out, because if we did Clocktown, it
Mhm.
just drops you into Clocktown.
Just right in the middle of it. It's free
It's
roam.
day one. You have like almost everything
Holy
at your
moly.
disposal. Like you've got the Great Fairy Sword,
Woo!
the Hookshot, Lens of Truth. Like there's a lot of things that you have available to you. Like almost all of the masks, except for I don't know what that one is.
It's a mysterious mask,
But you've got all the songs.
dude.
You got the Kokiri Sword.
I need to actually play all the way through this game at some point. I loved Ocarina of Time as a kid. I played it so many times, all the way through at least 3 times, but partial runs all over the place. And when I first tried Majora's Mask, it was way later because I just never got my hands on it. You know what I mean? It just never happened for me. And I remember being really frustrated because it felt like I had to memorize so many things.
Oh yeah, this game still kicks my ass with trying to get through everything and get as much as you can done.
It's way harder than Ocarina. And I thought Ocarina was dark and creepy, but Majora's got it beat by a hefty margin, I think. But I think the furthest I ever got was about halfway through the forest temple. You're trying to you got the monkey situation. And you're
Oh
trying to
yeah, the poison
save-
swamp.
Yeah, and there's that temple you have to go through to rescue the monkey princess or whatever, so that they stop trying to kill the kid or whatever. I can't remember. It's been a hot minute, but I couldn't beat that temple just because I couldn't get to it and through it fast enough before the time ran out. And I could probably do it if I put enough time and effort into it, but finding the time and effort to play it.
Finding the time is always seems to be the hard part, especially with all the newer games that are coming out and just life in general.
That's true. I feel like I've been playing more newer games than retro games, which is kind of antithetical to my personality. But how about you, man? Have you been playing any good new stuff?
I'm trying to think, like, what's the most recent thing that I've been playing, but I've just been playing fighting games, just having some fun with that.
That's fair. That's fair. So do you play more of the retro stuff than the new stuff then?
More of the retro stuff just because I've been playing it with friends.
Right on. I see. I also mostly just play with friends. Like when I'm playing video games, it's with friends. Most of the time.
I noticed for myself, like I get too lost or too like, what do I want to do? What do I actually want to finish?
Yeah, you know, I used to be really big on JRPGs.
Oh, I can never finish an RPG.
I used to be able to.
I get too lost, and it's too long most of the time. I tend to like smaller games, something that you can actually finish within 2 or 3 sittings.
Action platformers and stuff like that.
Or a lot of the shorter games, just like I was saying with the Gregory Horror Show, it was really short. It was not that long of a game.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like nowadays I can't work through a JRPG to save my life. Oh, you just didn't get fast enough there.
I haven't actually explored too much with the demo. I'm just like, cool, I have it. The realization of, oh, I now have this.
It's hard to... Man,
and also with something like this being just more of a demo, something to kind of run around and play with.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's a $10,000 cartridge, which means it's not for playing, probably. We shouldn't be doing this. We're doing it.
Well, no, I mean, what's the point of having the collection or the games if you can't actually experience them? At that point, it just becomes a glorified paperweight.
I suppose you're right on that. But you're definitely not getting $10,000 worth of fun out of this. You're getting $10,000 worth of, hey guys, look at what I have.
Hey guys, look at the poor financial decisions that I've made.
Well, I feel like there is some stuff that, like, you know, you get your money's worth out of the gameplay, and some stuff it really comes down to like just having a cool thing that is hard to get.
Like there's a little bit of both with this. I mean, for this, it was the decision of, wait, what? You have this? What even is this?
Right. Well, like for instance, like games like Little Samson are a good example, right? Because it's like around 2,000 to 3,000, I think, something like that.
I have not checked.
It's well over 1,000, and it is probably, I would say, it's a solid good game. It's probably about $40 good, and it's about 1,900 rare, if that makes sense.
But unlike Panzer Dragoon, where the entire set, which I've gotten all of those from you.
Have you full setted Panzer Dragoon?
1, 2,
so you got Saga,
and I got Orta.
Okay, so is that a full set?
To my knowledge, it might be. I don't know if there's any others.
I'm curious. We'll have to look that up later, but
I sent you a photo of all of them.
It's a very small, very expensive full set, though.
But something like that was still reasonable.
Well, and the thing is that, like, Panzer Dragoon Saga, it's expensive, but it's a legitimately good game, and it wasn't re-released really anywhere, so you basically have to have the original.
I think the only re-release was the first Panzer Dragoon that Limited Run redid not too long, like a couple of years ago.
I think you can also, if you beat Orta, you can play through Panzer Dragoon 1, and I can't remember if 2 is on there as well, but they added in as like a bonus after you beat it. After you beat Orta, it's got the old school 1 and 2 on there. But Saga has never got re-released as far as I know, and I've never played it myself, but I hear it's absolutely amazing. Like, the story is just killer.
I'm looking forward to when I actually have the chance to sit down and run through both 1, 2, Saga, and then run through Orts. So just sit down and be like,
just do a marathon?
I want to play Panzer Dragoon.
Dude, Saga is not, you can't just sit through and play Saga. That's like,
I think it's only 40 hours of...
Is it really?
That's when I was asking Sam about it.
It's like 4 discs. Or is it 3 discs?
I think it's 4.
3 or 4. It's a lot of discs.
But I think a lot of that is the cutscene.
Gotcha. Well, to be fair, yeah, a lot of discs doesn't necessarily mean a lot of content, because we just recently, I saw a copy of X-Files for PS1 come into the store.
Okay.
And that's a 4-discer. But then I looked on the back and it's FMV. It's all video of the actual actors from the show. David Duchovny and everything, just IRL filmed and then compressed to potato-style video. So we're getting little story bits here. We're getting a little background.
That's why I kind of feel like there would probably have been someone like with you, kind of explaining what the gameplay is, kind of trying to guide you around in certain spots instead of just go.
I've seen those kinds of showcases before. It's like, yeah, it's like a cartridge that they built to bring to a convention to say, hey, this game is coming.
Yeah, like, hey, look at what the cool things we can do with this game.
And, do this with it. Make sure you go this direction. Okay, now try using this.
Hey, this area is not fully finished yet. Do not go there.
That makes sense. And I bet you a lot of people had a lot of fun with the actual challenges, though. The Goron race, the
I
Zora.
bet you the Goron, there's Zora challenge there, too.
You got to beat that one dungeon boss, though. I got to see you do that. Let's do that next.
See if I can even remember the boss.
Is there a way to go back, or do you just have to reset it? Or
I think you have to reset it, because they probably had someone right there. Or there's probably a button combination to get back to the main menu.
That would be good to know. Yeah.
I mean, I very
reset.
rarely pull this thing out to show off to people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only select people that I'll bring the thing out and be like, hey, I trust you enough. You want to see this pretty cool, pretty weird Zelda thing that you've probably never heard of?
Dude, I imagine that's pretty hard to trust people, though, especially when they find out what it's going for. Because, I mean, you don't want people doxing you at this point now that they know you have that. Really, I mean, that could end in disaster. But I mean, I'm sure you've got it secure. And,
I've got a place for it.
Yeah, nice safe place where nobody will snag it. I know didn't you have an issue with
I did
it at
have
one
an
point?
issue, and that person is no longer I haven't talked to them in a couple of years because of that.
And they just
They
off with it?
yoinked it and then went, I'm gonna try to sell it because that made sense in their mind, or because they were envious that I managed to acquire it.
I remember. So the way I found out that happened is Brian, the guy that sold it to you. He's also, like a good friend and a regular at the store, and he actually reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, I saw this listed on KSL
it was eBay.
or eBay, yeah,
and it was
I saw it
listed
listed
for $7
for way less than it should be. Somebody's trying to sell one on eBay for way less than it should be, and these don't come up very often. You don't see these on eBay very often.
No, and I think it was.
So he was like, "Hey, reach out to Quintin, make sure his isn't missing." And then sure enough,
it was okay, now I got to go through the backlog of who do I have, and it was just one person, and I went,
you think somebody's your friend,
someone that you've known for years at that point. Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that is a thing that you have to worry about, my dude.
And that's just one of those, that's why I'm like,
But silver lining, though.
Oh, it showed that you, Kragan,
the
even
community.
the person that, funny enough, one of Brian's friends was actually willing to bite the bullet and buy it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
literally have it sent to him, and then do the eBay, hey, this was stolen, give me my money back, and then ship it back down here.
Oh yeah. I remember he mentioned that. So it's nice that the people who don't suck have each other's back.
Well, with this cartridge, because there's so few, it's basically a tight-knit community of everyone that has one kind of knows who has one.
Fair enough. Yeah, like you said, there's only somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 of them.
10?
That's a very small number.
Very small number.
That explains the cost on it too. But yeah, it's heartwarming to see that even though some people suck,
some people are not good people, but
that everybody kind of rallied together to try to get it back.
This is not right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fix that.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice that people are watching each other's back, and I
actually don't remember how this was.
You're gonna have to figure it out while we're chatting.
It's been so long since I bothered with Majora's Mask.
Good luck, my dude. Dude, he's making some noises. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I feel like theft is kind of like a part of life sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I run a video game store. I'm familiar with shoplifters. I've got a camera set up, and we've had to file police reports. I get it. But when it comes to the retro gaming community, we really don't tolerate it. That guy is blacklisted
from
everywhere.
Damn near every store in the state, and if any of them let him in, I'm like, no, this is not right. Y'all don't want this in your store.
And when somebody shoplifts from any of my store, Retro Game Vault, Numbskull, Game Peddler, Bit Jump Games down in Orem, when somebody shoplifts from any one of us, we always send photos to each other. Like,
be like, hey, do not let this person in your store. They are.
Well, not necessarily like telling them what to do with it, but just giving them a heads up. Like, hey, this guy stole from us. You know, use that info however you see fit. Whether you're going to ban them from your store too, or just keep a close eye on them, or whatever. Like, just so you know, if somebody steals, they get blasted. They get blasted in the group chats and on social media. And you know, even outside of stores, at the retro, before it was the Utah Retro Gaming Expo, it was just the big swap meet that Minus World did. The very first time he did it was just called a swap meet. But you know, somebody, one of the big resellers we were talking about earlier, a couple of his games went missing. A couple complete in box, very specific games just went missing,
disappeared.
And you know, he reached out to the group and he's like, hey, has anybody seen these? Anybody know? Right? And it just so happens that Kyle Thompson, the guy we had on episode 1, was just taking random photos throughout the day and, you know, just
having fun showcasing his experience, and you just happened to catch a picture of it.
Just photos for the sake of photos because he was having a good time, right? And he just was going through them all because that's what you do in the community. You help each other out. And he looked and he saw an exact shot of, you know, a guy that we all know holding those exact 2 games that went missing behind his back while talking to the guy. And like,
so
just
he caught
by dumb
him
luck,
live in 4K.
100% just sheer dumb luck managed to get exactly the photo that we needed. And sure enough, you know, the guy was like, well, I didn't steal them, but here's $200. I was like, okay. Okay, sure, man. Sure, you didn't steal them. And now, like, I haven't seen him in years now. He used to come into my store all the time. And since the incident happened, and you know, I reached out to him. I'm like, what are you doing, guy? Like, is everything all right? And yeah, now he knows. He's kind of like,
he kind of knows he messed up, and no one's really gonna do anything.
Well, and that's the thing, is you get blacklisted so easily if you break the honor code, right? If you try to screw somebody over, you get blacklisted. And that's why, you know, we're able to do things like game nights at somebody's house. You know what I mean?
Because there's such a trusted, tight-knit group of people that if something disappears, it's like, hold up, nope, I saw this person here and they were doing things a little off.
Well, we know that that's few and far between. That doesn't happen very often. And when it does, we've got each other's back. But
that's actually cool. And it put us right back to the prologue.
Okay.
Like right back to here.
So I bet you for all of them, there's
probably a
point.
certain, and that's probably where someone would be guiding you. Like you probably have a set time limit, and it's like, hey, let's try to go over here.
You gotta go get to this one thing to then get back. Okay. Now it's time for the Zora challenge.
I don't even remember what the Zora challenge is.
I've never done it. I have no idea. Waterfall Rapids. Is it another race, you think?
Didn't.
Yeah, what is that guy doing? You gotta... Are you... Okay. Diving down. You gotta chase him?
Oh, probably.
Oh, it's a
I bet you
beaver.
it's rings that I've got to... Probably going to collect or drop rings or something.
You gotta go catch the beaver. A to dive? Where the heck is he? I thought he was right there.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there we go. Now, the camera angles on these 64 games, I feel like 3D in its infancy really does feel like its infancy. Is that a hide and seek then? Can't read what he's saying.
He's going to give us a bottle, but all the rings within 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
20 rings.
You can do it. It's better than Superman 64.
That bar is not very high, though.
Fair.
Have you actually played Superman 64?
Yeah, it sucks. It's really like the controls are garbage. The levels aren't finished, and you can't beat it. I don't think. Like, it's actually an unbeatable game. Yeah, get them rings. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like, you know, whenever I do events at my house, right, I don't invite everybody.
No. You have a tight knit little circle that you're like,
well, it's like 60 people that I invite. You know,
still pretty small compared to how big the scene actually is.
Sure, for sure. I mean, in Utah alone, there's probably easily like tens of thousands of retro collectors. 100% believe that. But whenever somebody's like cool enough, long enough at my store, they get the invite. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, you can actually crash into the rings?
I guess you can.
Oh, no, that's it. You're not going to get the 2 minutes. How does... Oh, man.
I got to go back and get that one. Oh,
you're going to have to start over, man. Yeah.
Oh, and I think you have to get them in order. Because I just went through that one.
Yeah.
You
got to do them in order. You were doing so well for
I
the
was
first
doing
few.
so
Yeah, there it goes. Right. Yeah, you gotta get it exact. It looks
Depth
like
perception on the N64.
Oh, I know, right?
My one weakness. Oh god,
That's the
especially when the
only
water effect starts to kick in.
Yeah, it gets all the aberration or whatever. Well, it looks like you more or less know where you're going, though. It's kind of a straight line for the most part, but yeah, So there's a lot of people that I'm able to invite over to my place, for instance, and I know that they're not going to steal
or do
games
anything
from me.
stupid.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I'll do stupid stuff too. So I mean, I don't judge them for that. But do anything.
Barely got
You did it. You actually after
barely
all of that.
got it.
It's a lot easier than the Goron race then. Yeah, but I know that people, for the most part, are going to either be trustworthy or they're going to get caught out. And that's the thing is I think part of the reason that we have such a huge reaction in the community when somebody steals is because we want to be able to trust that nobody's going to steal.
Keep just a small knit group of cool people.
Well, not even necessarily a small knit group, just like
just a general like healthy community of we're not going to screw each other over.
Exactly. It's a deterrent. You know what I mean? I'm not going to drop names, but the guy that I was talking about earlier at the convention, he just basically vanished off the face of the planet, and he was a core part of the community. He was buying and selling stuff online
Big
all the
figurehead,
time.
pretty much, that everyone kind of knew exactly who he was.
I went over to his house to buy stuff off of him that he had bought off of somebody else, probably like 5 or 6 times. You know what I mean? And he seemed like a really cool guy. But just one lapse of judgment's all it takes to just completely get ostracized and kicked out of the community. And like, I don't think anybody in particular told him like, hey, you're out of the community, but he stopped getting invited to stuff. And I think he kind of got it. He kind of figured it out. You know what I mean? And I think he was pretty embarrassed about the whole thing because it's not
one poor decision. It's like, I just ended my entire establishment that I've kind of built up. My reputation is ruined.
Well, and this guy he wasn't broke and desperate. You know what I mean? He could have afforded those games, but he just didn't. I don't know what it was.
Something came over him, and he just went, "Go for it."
Yeah.
The little goblin in his head went, "I want it now."
He lost to the shoulder demon for sure. Went full goblin mode. I don't know if I can say that. I'm almost 40. I'm not allowed to use the Gen Alpha slang. That would be too skibbity. I can't believe I just.
I was about to say I don't understand most of the words that most current
God.
generation kids use.
Dude, I got so lucky. My kid, he's gonna be 12 soon, and he came to me the other day after school, and he's like, "We've got a problem at school, Dad. One of the kids is using the brain rot words." I'm like, "What do you mean, like skibbity?" And he's like, "No, don't say it. Don't say that word. It's the worst." So I'm lucky that he's not one of those like Fortnite brain rot kids. He likes weird indie games like Rain World.
You're raising your kid right.
I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, maybe he inherited the hipster gene from me. I've got a little bit of a hipster heart. It's hard for me to enjoy things that everybody else enjoys. If it's too popular, I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't watch My Hero Academia because everybody likes it. Unless I really like something before everyone else does it, it's hard. And I know that that's stupid. Oh, you're not going to make it this time, are you?
I might not know. I think I'm getting too close to the ring.
You got
harder
7,
this time.
6,
25 rings.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you get it?
I think I barely got it.
Let's see. Yeah, with like half a second left. That's impressive, my dude. That's impressive. Oh man. Well, it was really nice having you over and chatting with you, my dude. We're a little over the hour mark. Was there anything else that you wanted to chat about today, or any fun stories you wanted to tell?
Nothing that I can immediately think of. I mean, it's still just fun. Like, I mean, I've been slowly introducing some more of my friends to your store specifically. Like, I
Yay!
think a month or two ago, I was just talking with a friend, and I mentioned Game Changers because they were slowly like, "Oh, look at this cool game I got off eBay." And I think it was Final Fantasy something on the PlayStation 1. I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
you heard of Game Changers?"
I love it. Spread the love. I
And then I
appreciate that.
took them to your store once, and they're like, "Oh, let's do that again."
Yes. Yeah. That makes me happy, my dude. And just for you guys out there, in case you didn't already know, this show is brought to you by Game Changers in Salt Lake City. That's my store. Check it out. I'll put a little boop. You can go to gamechangerswithaz.com.
It's a pretty cool place, I will
Yeah,
say.
I like to think so. It is just a locally owned and operated, like one location kind of deal. We don't have an online shop. We may at some point do that. We don't have it right now. So
It's always
um,
better to go and support your local people. You get to learn who you're actually buying from too.
yeah, well, you could build a connection and have the whole sense of community, and that's like the whole point of retro game scene, right? Is to highlight the community that's already here and kind of like make sure everybody's aware. Like, there's a lot of really cool people in the local area around our store, and I'm really excited to try to get some of the other stores owners on as guests as well. Because
That'd be fun to get
oh
their
yeah,
insight, and you guys
oh
can bicker back and forth about owning stores.
because
And
well, there's a ton of retro game stores in the area. I think between
so you
like
got
in the valley, right?
Minus World.
Well, no, I think there's like
Numbs.
10 plus right now. Because yeah, there's us, right?
Yep.
There is Minus
Minus
World.
World.
There's Numbskull
Numbskull.
up in Roy. There's Gamers Asylum up in Ogden.
Oh yeah.
Then there is
The Game Vault or
Retro Game Vault in American Fork.
Bit Jump.
Bit Jump. Those are the ones that are no, and also Retro Game Wolf over
Oh yeah,
in
they're still
Taylorsville.
around.
So those seven are on our like list that we print out when people are like, if you don't have this, where else can I check? Those are the
Like,
stores
here's
we
the
go
seven.
to when we have spare time. That's where we also shop.
You could-
But then there's also on top of that, there's a Game Peddler just up the street. Oh, I take that back. They're on the list as well. So there's 8 on the list. And then there's also there's a Game Grid that does video games still. There's
Oh,
a
they still
Gray
do?
Whale.
They still do video games?
Yeah, one of them
Wow.
does. There's a Gray Whale still. There used to be Gray Whales everywhere, but
I
now
know.
they're down to just the one, I think.
Well, that's sad.
And then there's Galaxy of Games over in West Jordan, and then I think DVD Game Exchange down in Orem. So that we're at 11 now. 12, or we're at
That's
12.
12.
So yeah, and then I think there was one that Retro Replay, I think, just opened down in Provo in the
I
mall.
haven't heard of that one.
So we're
but-
at like 13 in the area. But the ones on my list, like I'm a huge fan of those stores. I love going to
I was gonna
shop
say,
at them.
if
And
I
so-
don't get something from you, it's probably from Minus World, Numbskull, or Retro Game Vault.
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
had a
Those-
chance to get down to
I
Bit
love
Jump,
those.
but
Bit
those-
Jump's good. He's got a really cool vibe going there. He's got a
Chris,
lot of good
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. And I'm hoping to get Chris from Bit Jump on the show as well. I've reached out to Bronson down at Retro Game Vault and Casey up at Numbskull, and they're both super busy right now. And I mean, obviously Chris is too, because he's actually the newest.
just starting his store. Yeah, that's
100%. He's the newest kid on the block when it comes to brick and mortar. I would love to pick his brain about web store stuff though, because I would love to do a web store. And he was, before he opened his brick and mortar, he was
Yeah, he
online
was.
only for a long time. And so he's kind of coming at it from the opposite angle that I would like to, but it would be nice to like, because
with your combined powers, you can create a Game Changer store, and you can help him with Bit Jump as much as he can.
he's picked my brain a few times about opening up a brick and mortar. I've given him some advice here and there, and he's actually given me some advice on different point of sale systems that might make it easier to do a web store. So I think, it's good to collaborate and, pick each other's brains and help each other out, because the more stores there are in the area that treat customers well, treat their product well, and treat their employees well, the better the community is going to be. If you're one of those stores that like yells at your employees all the time, or
just
accuses,
doesn't have a fun environment in general.
yeah, well, if you're bad to your product, right? If you put stickers on discs, right? Or if you're
Or Or if your
if you're
stickers
if,
are impossible to remove off of the case.
just kill me now. I can't tell you how many times I have lost my marbles trying to remove stickers from cases. But like, yeah, if you don't respect your product and you don't take care of your customers, right, and you don't take care of your employees, then as far as I'm concerned, you need to get out of here. But the more stores we have that do all three of those, the better the community is going to be. And, you know, as a game store owner, I guess, you know, there is like the little selfish part of me that's like, I want to be the one, right? Like,
But competition like that is healthy.
it's good for everybody. And you know, the whole thing about Game Changers, I'm not making a ton of money. I'm not getting super rich off of this, but we are helping build the community and make Utah even better than it already was for retro gaming. And so
well, you're not doing. It's like teachers. You're not doing it for profit. You're doing it out of passion.
it's for the love of the game and the love of the gamers, I guess. So, well, we'll go ahead and call it on that note. I appreciate you coming out today, man.
I'm really glad that you offered to me. I was one of the first few people that you thought of.
Heck yeah, dude. And well, I've absolutely enjoyed the heck out of it. You've been a real blast to chat with. And this Zelda Not For Resale cartridge was really, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm never going to have another opportunity to be in a room with one of these probably. That's super rare. So I really appreciate you bringing that over.
And I don't think there's a lot of documentation on this either. Like I would love to at some point actually go through and kind of figure out how this would have actually been set up.
Yeah.
And then run through the whole, like all 8 of these things.
Find all the endpoints that they programmed in and
actually kind of like record a little bit so that people actually know what it is.
See if there's a button combo that brings up console dev tools or whatever, you know?
Yeah, because I think the only thing that I've seen of this is picture of this prologue menu. That's it.
That's it. That's on the internet. And then obviously the front of the cartridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, again, I really appreciate you coming out, and let's go ahead and call that a good episode.